Hello, everyone, and welcome to EduMatch Tweet and Talk number 50. Does anyone up there look like me? This EduMatch episode is at a special time, and I'm so happy that we have our fantastic panelists joining us. So we're going to get to introductions in just a second. First of all, I wanted to give a huge shout out to Dr. Dorian Roberts for the title of this episode. I remember struggling to find the title, but she came up with that title inspiration. So if you could just please follow along on Google Plus with bit.ly/tweet talk50, as well as on Twitter with the hashtag EduMatch. The scheduled tweets have started to drop, so you can interact with us there. Speaking of EduMatch, if you check out our website, edumatch.org, you can be the featured person of the day, build your PLN, connect with like-minded educators all over the world using different facets of social media. So today we're going to be talking about diversity in terms of keynotes, featured speakers, conference presenters, etc., etc., etc. So I would like to introduce our various panelists. We're going to go from my right all the way to my left. So if you could please just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what you do. So we'll start with Tara.
Hi, my name is Tara. I am, I forgot to put my thing, I'll put that on in just a moment. Anyhow, I am an ed tech coach over at Singapore American School on the other side of the world in Singapore, and I'm happy to be here today.
Fantastic. We are so happy to have you. So Sofie, if you could please introduce yourself.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Good evening from London. I'm Swedish, and I'm based in London and Sweden, and I'm a professional speaker, and I speak a lot about marketing, technology, and leadership. And my interest in this topic about diversity at conferences comes from being a woman and often being the only woman.
Great. Thank you, Sofie.
Audience.
All right, I'm sorry. The technology started to glitch a little bit, but if you could just repeat the last thing you said.
Here, I have to speak at marketing and technology conferences, and it's appalling that there is so bad diversity in many of these conferences still.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, Shaina, welcome.
Hey guys, I'm Shaina Glass, and I am an instructional technology specialist or / innovation coach from Houston, Texas, and I work in Aldine Independent School District. I am also a presenter and would love to be a speaker. I'm going to put myself out there.
Yes, and any organization would be very lucky to have you speak. So, absolutely. So, thank you for joining us. And Kharima.
Hey guys, I am Kharima Richards. I am in Houston, Texas. I'm also an instructional technology specialist in Aldine ISD. And I'm new into the speaking. I'm interested in learning more about it and how I can be involved in that diversity on the panels in the future.
Absolutely. We're so happy to have you here, Kharima. And last and certainly not least, we have Cori.
Hey y'all, I'm coming from, my favorite place, Coriland, which is in the Austin, Texas area. I'm a digital learning coach for mostly elementary, and I am a speaker, but my interest has waned into how conferences and professional development is run. So I'm more into the background of getting more diverse speakers into the mainstream.
Absolutely, and that is very important. So thank you so much for joining us, Cori. And even though we are a panel of all women, we might have some men joining us, but I'd be remiss if I did not say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. So Happy Father's Day to any fathers who might be watching us on EduMatch. So now let's go ahead and jump right on in. So the very first question has already dropped on Twitter. Why is it necessary to have keynotes, featured speakers, presenters who are representative of various demographics? So who would like to answer that question first?
I'll do it. So it's necessary because if you're just getting one perspective, like, okay, for example, I went to a conference recently and there was a panel on ed tech coaching, and you look at all the panel people and they're all, no offense, white males. And I'm like, whoa, this is what a panel is. When you have panels and when you have speakers, there needs to be diversity, because you need diversity of perspectives and opinions and just insights that you wouldn't get if you had the same old type of presenter every time.
Absolutely. So multiple perspectives. Absolutely. Would anyone else like to answer the question?
I'll jump in. I agree with what she's saying. You do need to have a more diverse, get more diverse feedback. People are from different parts of the country, parts of the world. Situations are different. I'm not going to say so much the kids are different, but we may target different populations. So when you put out a panel that you're saying represents EdTech coaching, maybe if it was a little more diverse, I would feel just like kids and the teachers that teach them, that you actually understand what I'm going through. You know my struggles and my strifes. Not saying that they don't, but if I would feel a little more comfortable if someone maybe looked a little more like me, whether it be a female or a person of color.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going next to Cori.
Even within a similar population, you have diversity. Like I identify as African American female, which Shaina identifies as African American female, but we have different experiences, our work conditions, our life experience, our professional and personal knowledge. So even within a population, you have great diversity. And to serve a varying audience, you need to bring in as much diversity as possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. Going next to Kharima.
I agree with what Cori just said. When you're listening to a panel or people speaking of their experiences, if their demographics don't match your demographics, it's kind of hard to relate. Or if they're dealing with a different population than you are and they're giving you advice of what you should do, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of hard to receive that and really understand it, because you're dealing with two different populations. So it's important for the students and us as well to see people like us as speakers, so that we can relate to them personally.
Absolutely, absolutely. Going next to Sofie.
Well, sorry, Wayna might not have picked up all.
Hey, Sofie, we're starting to have some technical issues. Can you hear us?
Can hear you now. Shall
Hey,
I try
Sofie.
again?
Yeah, if you could please try again. It's starting to break up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, but when you go to conference, you should be able to mirror that. You should, now can you hear me? Can you hear me?
It's breaking up a little
me?
bit. Can you hear us? Okay, it's breaking up a little bit. Could you try to adjust your bandwidth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And while you're doing that, then let me see. If you go up to the top and then just kind of adjust your bandwidth usage with that fourth icon from the top. Okay. And as you're doing that, then I'll put the next question out there, but we'll come back to you for your answer for question 2, Sofie. But question 3, if the other panelists can start thinking, how can we change the current culture surrounding most educational conferences, which are generally non-inclusive? So before we go there, then let's come back to Sofie. So your answer for question 2, why is it necessary to have keynotes, featured speakers, presenters who are representative of various demographics?
Yeah, I try again. Well, when you go to conference, you should looking at the speaker, and if you feel like, okay, this is
Okay, so she will click back on, but for right now we're just going to go ahead with the third question. How can we change the current culture surrounding most educational conferences, which are generally non-inclusive? So who would like to go first with that question? Kharima, is that you gesturing?
I forgot my volume was off. I think having those discussions with the right people so that we can be a part of those panelists and getting involved, staying connected like we normally do via Twitter, Voxer, so that you can be, so you'll know of the opportunities that are coming up to serve on a panel and speak so that you can be a face for those discussions.
Absolutely, absolutely. Who next?
I think just to piggyback on that, the feedback part is essential. So, like, you know, when the complete like white male panel happened in a conference recently, I went directly to like the person at the table to say, what? And she said, well, I'm sorry, there's nothing that we can do about it now, but definitely give us feedback about the conference and we'll see about changing that in the future. I think that they actually listen to the feedback. I think that, you know, like talking about those situations in the moment is one thing, but following up on it is super important.
Absolutely, that follow-up is important. All right, Cori, I see that you've unmuted yourself.
Yes. I think it's very important for us to put ourselves out there and be connected, but also to go a step beyond talking to the people at the table. We need to become the people at that table. There's a structure and a protocol to every one of these professional developments and conferences, and you need to know who the people are in charge, and sometimes there are opportunities that pop up where you can join the people in charge in planning. Like, I'm a part of the ISTE Planning Committee for 2017. I wanted to know, how did ISTE work? It's like the biggest professional development conference in, well, one of them in the world, and many of us attended, but some of us has never had a opportunity to speak there. Some people have just presented posters there, but there has to be a way that we can get a seat at that table, and so we can represent the voice of diversity when it comes to planning and producing some of these conferences.
All right, absolutely, fantastic. All right, Sofie. Sofie, you might be muted.
Hello. Yeah, now I'm not muted. Yeah, but when you go to speak there, they often like just a few different options to find speakers. And in the UK, it's very common that they say they call for papers. And when you get the submission, it's often 75 to 80% men that has submitted papers. And if this is like the only way they are trying to get speakers, they will not get 50-50. It will be lots of men who have been speaking at conference before, and they are confident because they have done it so many times. And when you get an inexperienced speaker who never spoken at a conference before, you need to treat them differently. You have to give them like more information and make them feel comfortable to do this. So if you just use the same method you've always done, you don't get a new result. And it's a pity, you know, it's something that I see repeated everywhere.
Absolutely, absolutely. Shaina.
I'm agreeing with what everyone's saying on the panel. I think one thing I would add is to reach out to your PLN to develop structures so that you could be a part of the panel. I guess I'm kind of piggybacking off of what Cori said. A lot of the opportunities that I have been privy to have come from the fact that I've reached out to my PLN to develop these opportunities. So we write presentations together. We, collaborate on panels, and that has been pretty much the difference going forward and having these opportunities. And I'm very thankful for the family that I have. And I'm very thankful the PLN that I have. Let me say that.
Absolutely.
Build on your PLN. If I could give any advice to anyone, build on your PLN, reach out to them, and form those networks so that you could be the next panel.
Absolutely. And you're kind of tapping into our next question, where we are seeing about ways that people who are traditionally underrepresented, groups that are traditionally underrepresented, how can we support one another in these spaces? And I'm watching the Twitter feed as well, and I see that Craig has shouted out Ed Speakers, so definitely check that out, which is a bureau that I'm a part of, as are many of us on here, that just kind of seeks to give a voice to traditionally people who have not been given that voice in conferences and things of that nature. So definitely. So who would like to answer question 4 about in what ways underrepresented groups can support one another in these spaces? Not everybody at once.
I'll come back in and chime in.
All right, Shaina.
Definitely you're right, what I was just saying. I think it's crucial that you continue to build on your PLN. The conversations that I've had in the last, let's just say year. Let's go back. In the last year with my PLN, using Twitter, here, Google+, and Voxer has transformed me in this profession. I have been given opportunities that I know for a fact I would not have had without me building on my PLN. So building those relationships turns into global connections that you wouldn't normally have in any other instance.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the building on a PLN is such a great idea and great resource. All right, Cori, I see you're unmuted, so coming to you next.
I'm piggybacking off of Shaina now. Finding connected educators can seem like a challenging obstacle, but like Ed Speakers is great, EduMatch is awesome, and just going into Twitter and typing in what kind of professional learning network do you want to find, because they exist out there. Rafran started the People of Color bloggers, edu-bloggers. We got POC Ed Tech for the people of color in Ed Tech. So whatever you want to find, trust that it's out there. You just have to look.
Absolutely. Great points being made. And Shaina just put in the chat, United Ed Tech. So that's a Voxer group. Fantastic. So we're going to Kharima next.
I think same thing, with those connections, speaking with those connections, maybe finding a mentor or finding someone that's passionate about helping others and maybe can coach you on it, because some people may not feel comfortable speaking at first, but once they get that feedback, constructive criticism, that also helps, or just to give them some feedback in general on their speaking.
Absolutely, absolutely. Going next to Sofie.
Yeah, one thing that has helped me quite a lot is to be a member of the Professional Speaking Association in London, and it's been a traditional, quite male organization, but now the membership is about 50% women, and you have people from all kind of backgrounds and all kind of topics, and it helps to be part of a network where people who have been in the speaking business for 30 years are, and you get a direct connection with them. So wherever you live, go and check out if there are professional speaking association where you live, and they run monthly meetings quite often, and if you're based in the United States, there's an enormous conference in Phoenix organized this year. I'm going to tweet it out later. But it can be really helpful to be there, and you get confidence from talking to some of these experienced speakers.
Absolutely. Connecting and collaborating, that's where it is. So, Tara.
Yeah, I just want to echo what everybody's saying, just in terms of the more connected you are, like when you do come around to like actually speak at a conference, the more confidence you have, right? And like it helps to be connected and to be connected with the right people who are not going to say I'm better than you, blah blah, but who are going to help to like build you up instead. Yeah, and I think that we learn that by just getting connected, and yeah. Bleh, I can't find words.
Absolutely, absolutely, definitely. So great tips from our fantastic panelists. I wanted to thank all of you for joining us. This has been a fantastic discussion. So it's going to be, the audio will be stripped and it will be available as an iTunes podcast at bit.ly/edumatchpodcast. The Twitter chat will be transcribed and archived, sent out within the next probably 15 minutes or so. Definitely wanted to thank everyone on panel. Thank you so much for joining us. Cori, Kharima, Shaina, Sofie, Tara, thank you all so much. Thank you to everyone who's watching, who's tweeting, and who will be watching later on. So also want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, XOU and Omniboard, for the EduMatch meetup going on June 26th in Denver. So definitely looking forward to that. So everyone have a great rest of your day. Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers. We're going to be taking off next week because we'll be at ISTE, but the following week, Dr. Dorian Roberts will be moderating Tweet and Talk about student worth ethics. So that'll be on July 10th, and we will show her some extra love because it's her birthday. So everyone have a fantastic rest of your day, evening, and night.